Yo, what up guys? I'm here. I'm gonna be doing my brakes for my Stelvio 2018. I actually got a quote from the dealer. They're talking about anywhere from $800 just to do the brakes. But I ended up getting the brakes from Power Stop, front and rear. So I'll walk you through the process of what I'm doing in order to achieve this. All right, I'll be back. All right guys, so I got the wheel off and this is how the caliper looks before the brakes are off. There's obviously a sensor here. You gotta disconnect it from here and you pull it off. It had a zip tie here, so you just take off the zip tie. Then you have to remove these pins, 1, 2, and then these are T55. These two right here. Once you get this off, then you're able to pull the caliper off, slide the brakes off. So what I did, I got this punch and put it against here, tap the pins out. That's how I got the pins out. I'm about to do these and I'll come back to it once I have it off. Forgot to mention, right before you getting ready to remove the brake pads and bolt the caliper, you gotta retract the pistons. But first, make sure that you come over here, get this little door that covers the brake cylinder, brake booster. Take off the cap, and I put a rag just in case, because as you retract, as you push in the pistons, it creates pressure. So I just put a rag here in case it does. Then the rag will catch it, any overflow. All right, so like I mentioned, I got the caliper bolts off, right? There's one here, to T55 to get it out. Once that's done, then you have a little bit of leverage to get the caliper off. So be careful, because this is like a metal line, so it's not as flexible. So as you're pulling the caliper back, it doesn't have a lot of play. So be careful when you do that, but you do have enough space to take out the OEM pads. And as you take out the OEM pads, it has this metal shims, so keep them, because you're gonna reuse them on your new brakes. So you just take them off, push them off, your original ones, the metal shims, and reuse them on your new brakes. Also, the new brakes came with the new hardware. This goes inside here, and this way. I can't do it with one hand, but you go in there and you push it back in here. And there you go. This is the new hardware, and this is what keeps the tension on the brake pads. That's when you put them back in. All right guys, so I'm all done with this side. Got the sensor hooked up, got the pins, got everything tightened up. I just wanna let you know, this is the tool that I use to retract the pistons. I'll be posting a link where I got it if anybody's interested in this one. It works great. Easier than using your own brake pads or anything else. It's really easy to use. Definitely put a link to that. But yeah, this side is done. Everything is buttoned up. Just put the wheel and I'm done with this side. I'm not gonna be filming the other side because it's basically the same thing. I'm actually gonna move to the back. All right guys, I'm getting ready to do the rear brakes, but first there's one step that we have to do. And what you do is you come into the car and you press the start button without stepping on the brake, so you can access the menu. Once you access the menu, then you go to menu, you go to settings, driver assist, and you go to auto brake off, and then you go to brake service. Once you go to brake service, it tells you this message: would you like to retract park brake to allow brake system at service? Then you go to yes. Oh, gotta release the parking brake. So you press the brake, you release it. So that releases the parking brake. Close. Let's try it again. Brake service. Yes. And we're ready to go. See, it says brake service, parking brake. Okay, so then you leave the car on like this. Now you're ready to go ahead and start performing the brake swap. So let me get to it and I'll talk you through it. All right, so I'm ready to get started on this. What you gotta do first is remove this pin, this clip here. This what keeps tension on the brakes. So all you do is a flathead screwdriver or one of these, stick it in there, pry it out. This comes off. Then here on the back, there's one here and one here. There's this caps. So you just pop them out. Just one here, here. And then from there, it's a 7 mil Allen, which is gonna use to take off the bolts, the guide bolts. Once that's done, and you come back here and you disconnect the parking sensor, parking wear sensor. And that's gonna give you access to remove this and swap out the brakes itself, the pads. So let me get that and I'll be back. So once you get all those bolts out, disconnect this, the sensor. I recommend removing this grommet from here. So just gotta pull it up. And that's gonna give you more freedom of movement to move the caliper up here, so you have, you know, more space and more to work area. So I ended up putting the caliper on zip tighter to give me more leverage, so I don't have to hold it while I retract this. And there, now I just gotta retract it back to get the tool out, and done. All right, so now I'm putting back the brake pads. So you gotta make sure the one with the wire goes on the inside. So you slide the wire through the middle. You sit the pad there. And mine's came with this little paste grease. It's a lubricant, so put it on there. Put the other brake pad here. Line it up with the disc and then slide it through. Like that. Make sure it's sitting correctly. And then you just gotta put in the guide pins, the bolts. Get them in there, get them started by hand. Get both of them under, top and bottom. All right, so you get the guide pins started and bolted on. Then you grab the sensor, plug it in, and then slide it into a spot to hold it in place. And then what's left is to put the guide pins on. All right, so after you put everything back on and put the sensors back in, then what's left is this guide pin. Well, not a guide pin, but more like a clip that holds the caliper, gives it even pressure. So you start from the top, like that. Like that. Then like that, and you get it even pressure on the bottom, and you slide it down. Make sure it's sitting correctly, and that's it for that. One more thing, guys, there's this little dust cover caps that go behind the pin, so make sure you put them back in place, one on the top, one on the bottom. So that's it. And then I'm not doing the other side because it's the same exact thing, but I will come back as soon as to reset the system inside the vehicle. All right, so once you're done, come back to driver assist, turn it back on, service, brakes, no, this, brake. There you go, brake, service, park, reset, service complete. And we're good to go. That's all it takes. And you close it, and you're done. So let's try it out. Brake is on. Brake is released. Brake is on. There you go. Alright people, don't forget to subscribe, like the videos. I'll be posting more content on this vehicle as well. Until then, peace.